Hello and welcome back to the AA NBA podcast. I'm your host, Aiden Hammond.
And I'm Aditya.
And today we've got really nothing, but there is a little bit of news, and we got a game and we got power rankings. So let's just roll through our power rankings. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first. At number 5, I have the Nuggets. They went 3-1 this week. Their only loss was to the Nets, who played well this week. They beat the Hornets, Timberwolves, and Pistons. They moved up to the 3 seed in the West, so that's pretty good. And overall, they had a pretty good week.
Yes. I have the Nuggets at 5 as well. Basically the same reasons. They leapfrogged the Clippers, which is very important. I was convinced that the Nuggets were going to be like maybe the 5th seed this year. Because they started out really slow. Not going into the year, I figured that they would be pretty good. But after the first couple weeks, I was like, God, the Nuggets are really not that great. And they somehow got up into the top 3 in the West again. I don't know how they do it every year. They always start out slow, and then they just spend the last 3 months of the season becoming a top 4 team in the West. It's crazy.
I mean, that can be kind of problematic, though, because if you have to work so much harder to keep your standings.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's bad.
Stuff.
But it is a little impressive.
Yeah, especially without Jamal Murray. I thought they'd slip at least a little bit.
Yeah, I did too. I'm starting to think they can maybe win more than one playoff series. Maybe not.
It depends on
as it stands right now. They play the Trailblazers in the first round. If the Blazers win today, if they lose today, then they would be playing the Lakers, which I don't think that they would win. And if the Lakers and Trailblazers both lose today, then the Trailblazers would be in.
Yep.
So, yeah.
My number 4 is the Nets. They went undefeated this last week. They played the Nuggets, the Bulls twice, and the Spurs. And they've been playing well, but that's kind of expected when you look at that team.
Yeah.
Nothing really special to say about them. They're like a game back from the 76ers right now for the 1 seed. And I think they're locked, though, right? Like the Sixers are locked for 1.
I believe so. I'm not sure. They are separated. They have 1 more win and 1 less loss than the Bucks. So if the Bucks win and the Nets lose, I don't know what the tiebreakers are after that.
I don't know. This whole thing's been very confusing this season, but
yeah,
they're very good this season. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes. I have the Nets there as well for the same reasons.
Nice. Number 3, I got the Sixers. They are the 1 seed, and they went 2-2. They beat the Pistons and Magic, and they lost to the Pacers and Heat. So not a great week necessarily, but they're still the 1 seed in the East. They have Embiid, obviously. And, yeah, this part of our power rankings, I'm pretty sure, has stayed the same for a while now. So,
yeah, it's probably not going to change at all. I've got the Sixers there. Same reasons. I don't think they're as good as either of the top 2 teams in the West, but they're still very good, and they're the best team in the East. So I gotta keep them up at 3.
Yeah, and I'm just going to get these 2, say both of them, because at this point I think everyone knows. As Suns 2, Jazz 1, they're the top 2 teams in the league, but the Jazz are better by 1 game. And then this week they had a pretty identical week. They both went 2-2. But the Suns are currently playing the Spurs, or that game might have just ended, I'm not sure. But either way, they're both the top 2 teams, but the Jazz are a game ahead. So
yeah, they are trailing the Spurs by 1 with a minute and a half to go. I feel like did they have a bad loss this week? I feel like, no, they didn't. They lost to the Warriors. That was their worst loss, probably.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I got the Suns and Jazz as my 2 and my 1. Same reasons. They're separated by a game. I think the Jazz are just slightly better. They're the only teams that are going to finish with 50 wins. I feel like they're kind of in a tier above the rest of the NBA at this point.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's it for the power rankings. Just kind of got those done real quick. Next up, the play-in tournament is set. At least the teams that are in it are mostly set, except for the Lakers and Blazers could switch, right?
Yes.
But you know a little more about that whole format than I do, I think. So,
Well, I don't really, because I don't really understand it, but I found a bracket from SB Nation. So the 9 and the 10 seed cannot get higher than the 8. Right? So neither of those teams, the loser of that game is out, okay? The winner of that game plays the loser of the 7 or 8. So the winner of the 8-7 game takes the 7 seed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so let's say the 7 seed wins that. Then they would just stay as the 7 seed. And then the 8 seed would play the winner of the 9-10 game for the 8 seed. So
Okay.
the 7 and 8 cannot both fall out of the playoffs, basically. Like, the 9 and 10 could not just turn into the 7 and 8. That's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
And the 9-10 cannot get better than the 8 seed. So even if the 9 seed like goes on a tear, they cannot get better than the 8 seed.
Okay.
So that's basically it.
It's pretty similar to what they did last
stupid.
season. But
Yeah, it's stupid. I really hope that this is not a permanent fixture of the NBA, because it's just...
Oh, they said they wanted to make it permanent.
Yeah, they did. It's just such a clear cash grab. It's depressing.
Yeah. But so that's pretty much set. I think we'll have the most of it done by next week when we record, if I'm not wrong.
I believe the whole thing, it's the 18th to the 21st, so the whole thing should be done by Saturday or Sunday, whenever we decide to record.
Okay, so the playoffs should be set, then we can do like our playoff predictions or whatever then.
Yes.
Next up, Dwayne Casey has agreed. I don't think he's completely agreed, but they're like pretty much agreed with the Pistons to re-sign to become their coach through the 23-24 season. And honestly, I don't know why he would want to do that, because they kind of suck and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. But
I was actually a little surprised at this, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm always surprised. I mean, I'm happy for Casey, don't get me wrong, but I'm always surprised when I see a team that sucks give their coach a big extension. Even if it's not the coach's fault, it just always is a little surprising to me.
Well, it was surprising to me on like Dwayne Casey's end, because like the way I looked at it is either he just wants to stay in one place and doesn't want to like go somewhere else, or like he wasn't getting many offers from other teams. Even though
he's 64, so I can imagine that he's probably not gonna want to move. Like, I can imagine he probably is not gonna be a huge fan of having to move again. I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I don't know.
He's got 2 young kids too.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I actually didn't know that about him, that he had kids. But like, he's not a bad coach, but like, he's definitely not as good as he was a few years ago.
With the Raps. Yeah, I mean...
But not even like that last season with the Raptors. Like, I feel like the last few... like, I don't remember...
I think he's the only coach to go from Coach of the Year to fired.
Yeah. But...
That really sucked.
Yeah. That whole Dwayne Casey situation, like, was weird. Because it's like, yeah, you got Coach of the Year, he was fired, then they won a championship. Then you got to ask, like, could they have won it with Kawhi if they still had Dwayne Casey? Which I think they probably could have, but like either way, like I'm sure they wanted to.
Especially with how bad they've been this year with Nick Nurse.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like maybe Nick Nurse got a little bit overrated.
And
not like he's a bad coach, just that like he won a championship with a stacked roster, and then everybody was like, he's the next Popovich or whatever, and like, okay, chill out.
Well, it's a little different, though, because they've had to play their entire season in Tampa, so pretty much every game is an away game. They're in like a new
Yeah, I
environment.
mean, it
They're
is.
not in their homes. Like, it's a little different.
Yeah. But they were really bad. Like, really
But yeah,
bad.
no,
this year.
they were terrible.
And
this season.
they had a pretty similar roster to the one they had last year.
Yeah, they were bad this season. That is correct. But yeah, Dwayne Casey got an extension. And then there's like two more small things to cover before we get into the big thing that happened. So Vic is out for the rest of the season with a quad. He's getting like surgery on his quad or whatever.
Potentially all of next season too.
Yeah, so he's really improving that contract negotiation stock, I guess.
Yeah,
whatever you
it's
call it.
really It's honestly like, it's always super depressing to see a guy like bet on himself and then just completely like it just gets completely botched. Like, it happened to Melvin Gordon a couple years ago, who was an NFL player. He held out for like, I think 5 or 6 games, and he ended up making, or no, it was Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell held out for
Melvin
a full
Gordon
season.
also held out.
No, he did, but I feel like I think Le'Veon Bell got less than what the Steelers were offering him after he held out, and it was just like really depressing.
Yeah.
And I think Melvin Gordon had like a similar thing, but I feel like he got like maybe a little more from the Broncos than he would have gotten from the Chargers. I don't know. It was like, but it was definitely not enough money to be worth like a full holdout. So that always,
Vic, maybe you should have accepted the contract extension from the Pacers or the Rockets.
yeah.
But,
It's bad.
Next, Jalen Brown is out for the rest of the season with a ligament injury in his wrist.
Celtics are done.
Celtics are done. They might still make the playoffs, but they're not going to like... I mean, they're in the play-in tournament, so I don't know how much they're going to do against a team like the Nets or the Sixers.
Yeah, I think they're going to be... I don't know. Tatum can carry a team, but I don't think he can win a playoff series by himself.
Well, this team has also been bad.
Yeah.
Even with Jalen Brown. Like, I don't know how well they'll manage without him.
Yeah.
And then, then we have... It was just yesterday, right? The Hall of Fame inductees.
Yes. Kobe, Tim Duncan, KG,
Paul Pierce.
No, not Paul Pierce.
I thought
Paul
I saw
Pierce
an Instagram thing about that. Maybe
no,
not.
he wasn't inducted yesterday. And then they announced the next class, which is...
that's what it was, yeah.
Let me look it up. 2021... Okay.
No luck finding it.
No, I did. I'm trying to figure out like an easy reading one. Okay. Rick Adelman, Jay Wright, Yolanda Griffith, Lauren Jackson, Bill Russell as a coach, which is a little surprising because I don't think he coached that long, did he?
Don't know.
Oh, he was a 2-time champion as a coach. He coached for like 10 years combined. He coached the Celtics for like 4 years, the Sonics for like 5 years, and the Kings for like a year. So, yeah.
He won it twice with Boston. Well, he was a player coach in Boston.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, I'm like, does that really count? His career
different.
coaching record, he does have a above 500 career coaching record and 341 wins. So
yeah, but yeah. I mean, he was above 500 twice with the Supersonics, and other than that, it was all with the Celtics, where he was a player coach.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean,
his
I think they have
record
to.
Is not that great, actually.
Yeah, I don't know what that is about. I think they have to put in a certain number of. I think they have to put in like 2 coaches a year.
But what if there's not two deserving coaches? That doesn't make sense.
Well, it's stupid. Yeah. And then, oh, he's going in as the first black head coach. That's what it is.
There you go. That makes sense.
And he did win. I mean, he won 2
But
championships.
isn't that also still as a player coach?
Well, yeah, but he was still the first black head coach.
I mean,
he was the head coach. I mean, he was a player too, but he was a head coach.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. All right, who else?
That alone should get him in. Even if he won like 12 games, I feel like that alone would put him in, and probably should. Tony Kukoc, like the real headliners are like Tony Kukoc, Paul Pierce, my boy Ben Wallace, Chris Webber, and Chris Bosh.
For next year?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
I like this class a lot.
There was a you know it. There was a tweet, and this guy was like, "It's crazy how Ben Wallace is gonna make the Hall of Fame as the 4th best player on a championship team." That was insane.
And the second best guy with the last name Wallace.
Bro, that was such a stupid tweet. Oh my god.
Ben Wallace is like a top 5 defensive player ever in the history of the entire like sport of basketball. But he is the second best player. Or the 4th best player, the second best Wallace.
It's crazy to me that there's someone out there that actually believes that.
Oh my god, it's so stupid. All right, I'm looking up players who retired in 2017 because I feel like this class is a lot of players who like it's like I think Paul Pierce is the only first ballot guy. Usually it feels like there are 2 or 3 first ballot guys, but Paul Pierce is the only one. So, Tayshaun Prince, Steve Blake, Martell Webster, Robbie Hummel, Meta World Peace, David Lee, Matt Barnes, Carlos Boozer, Caron Butler, Steph Marbury, officially retired, but he'd been out of basketball for like 5 years, I think, at that point. Mike Miller, Nick Collison. So yeah, there's really only one guy who even has a shot at the Hall of Fame, and it's Paul Pierce, and he's a pretty obvious first ballot guy. So this is a good Hall of Fame class for the guys who have been on the ballot for a while, probably should have been in a couple years ago, but because, you know, guys like Kobe and Tim and, you know, whoever retired, they couldn't get in. Kevin Garnett, yeah. So Chris Bosh is a guy that really, if he had retired in basically any other year, he'd be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he was forced to retire with Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bryant, and Tim Duncan. Like, the second greatest shooting guard of all time, the greatest power forward of all time, and like I don't know where you put Kevin Garnett, but a pretty much consensus like top 3, like 2 guys who are top 3 at their position all time, and then a top 2 shooting guard ever. So bad year to retire if you want to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But Chris Bosh gets in, very deserving. Paul Pierce gets in, very deserving. Ben Wallace, I think, is a pretty obvious, also deserving guy. I feel like he doesn't really have like the counting stats. Like I think he only finished with like 6,000 points and like 10,000 rebounds. But he has 2,000 blocks. He won 4 Defensive Player of the Years in 5 years. That is so insane. Yeah. He's got a ring. He is a 4-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, 6-time All-Defense, 2-time rebounding leader, and blocks leader. I feel like he's and he's got a number retired by the Pistons. That's a pretty obvious Hall of Famer in my book.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it yesterday. Well, not yesterday because we didn't know Ben Wallace was going to be in the Hall of Fame, but like, it's a thing kind of with this class because like Paul Pierce, for example, we both kind of agreed he's one of the more disrespected.
He's probably the most disrespected and underrated superstar of all time because I remember, you know how all of the like posts go around when somebody's getting inducted, like about their career, like a bunch of stuff goes viral about, like, it was mostly Kobe this year, probably because of like the situation around Kobe, but it was mostly Kobe. And then there was some stuff about KG and some stuff about Tim Duncan. And one of the stuff about Tim Duncan was like, is Tim Duncan the most underrated superstar of all time? And I said no. And Tim Duncan's like one of my favorite athletes ever. I adore Tim Duncan, but I don't think he is an underrated superstar.
People know how good he was. They just don't talk about him much because he was a really quiet guy.
Yeah, it's pretty much agreed upon that Tim Duncan is the greatest power forward of all time, and we don't really need to talk about it. So it's not really like, it's kind of stupid to discuss it all the time. People actively trash and shit on Paul Pierce all the time. Like, he is easily the most disrespected superstar of all time. This dude was a top 10 player for like a decade, and people treat him like he was just like this scrub that got carried to a ring by KG.
Now, I'm not really on Twitter like that, but I can only imagine what the kids had to say about Paul Pierce making the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I didn't really see anything about it. I am a little more on Twitter than you are, but I didn't see much about it. I feel like there are two guys in this class that people are going to be a little more mad about. Definitely Tony Kukoc, because the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame is the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. It's not just the NBA Hall of Fame. So they feel a need to put in an international player every year, even if there is not a deserving international player, which there isn't always one. That's how Vlade Divac got in, and it's how Kukoc got in this year. And, Tony Kukoc is a guy. I feel like Tony Kukoc is kind of deserving of the Hall of Fame. It's weird because he was basically like the first international superstar to come over here and play basketball. Like, he is one of the first guys. Like, he's in that first group with it's like himself, it's Vlade Divac, and it's Drazen Petrovic. So he is kind of in that group of guys where it's like...
And Sabonis guy. I mean, he came when he was older.
And Sabonis. He was like 5 years later, I want to say.
Well, the thing is, he was drafted, and he stayed in Europe for like 10 years before he decided to finally come over.
Yeah, that's true. But he was in that first group of guys that actually came over here and played, and he kind of revolutionized the way pro basketball teams scout. Before that, it was a lot of college, and maybe if they saw a guy in the Olympics, they would give him a tryout and he would come over and play for a couple years. But he was one of the first European players to come over and play basketball. Mm-hmm. So that's why I kind of think, and be really good. He's a big part of the reason why people think that European players can succeed, because he played for 13 years. He was a sixth man of the year. He won 3 championships. He was an integral part of 3 championships. So I do think he is a deserving Hall of Famer, and he's arguably the greatest European basketball player ever. He won 5 Eurostar Player of the Year awards, 3 EuroLeague championships, 3 straight, 3 EuroLeague Final Four MVPs, 50 greatest EuroLeague contributors, 4-time. It's an absurd amount of his. FIBA accomplishments are most Hall of Famers NBA accomplishments. So I get why he's in. And he's 200 points off of 10K points in the NBA, 3,000 rebounds, 3,000 assists. Pretty impressive counting stats too. Mm-hmm. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he deserves it?
I mean, again, I think he deserves it just because of what you said with his international contributions and pioneering coming to the NBA. But I mean, it's also listed on the Hall of Fame. He's in for his international contributions, not because of his work in the NBA.
Yeah, if it was just based on his NBA,
he was good, but he was never an all-star.
He was good. He never made an all. Yeah,
yeah.
He was known as that guy Michael Jordan didn't like for the first couple years of his career because Michael Jordan thought he was being replaced or something.
Yeah.
Or no, wasn't it because Jerry Krause wouldn't shut up about how good Tony Kukoc was, and Michael Jordan hated that? I feel like that's what it was.
I don't know much about that. I haven't gotten around to watching The Last Dance or anything, so.
I haven't either, but I felt like I maybe read that in the Michael Jordan biography, that he felt threatened by how much Jerry Krause liked Tony Kukoc.
Bro, it sucks. I was finally getting around to watching The Last Dance, and then Netflix jacked up their prices, and then I canceled my subscription, and now I can't watch it.
Yeah, it's dumb.
But
I feel like the only guy on this list that maybe you could make the case shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame is maybe Chris Webber. But I feel like that's a pretty slippery slope. I don't think I would make that case. I feel like Chris Webber is a...
It's the Basketball Hall of Fame. If you think they maybe shouldn't be a Hall of Famer, the Hall of Fame committee's got him as a first ballot lock.
Yeah, I mean, okay, he's 5-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA. Rookie of the Year, All-Rookie First Team, and then he's got his number retired by the Kings, and he led the league in rebounds once. He's got 17,000 points, 8,000 rebounds, 3,500 assists. I don't really know. I mean, if he played baseball, he's not touching the Hall of Fame. That's.
I don't think if he played any other sport, he's not touching the Hall of Fame.
Well, if he was like a running back in the NFL with those career accolades, he would probably be in the Hall of Fame. But if he was like a quarterback, probably not.
What's the thing? I don't know. NBA, or not the NBA, but the Basketball Hall of Fame is notorious for being super easy to get into. And this is a case of that. He probably shouldn't, but he's gonna be.
He wasn't he didn't make a ton of he didn't make any all defensive teams. I don't know, because Ben Wallace, you can make the case because he might not have the counting stats.
Defensive player of the
but
year.
He's 4-time He was the best defensive player in the NBA 4 times. That's insane.
He is a 4-time defensive player of the year, and he has a championship ring. That's enough already. To put him.
And that's what we make fun of the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame, but I would put that in if he had that resume in any sport. I would probably put him in. Yeah. That's one. We're okay, well, he might not have the All-Star appearances, and he might not have the counting stats, but, he was so incredible on one side of the ball that, it doesn't really matter.
He's one of the best ever on one side of the ball.
Yeah, he's a top 5. If I was building a team, I'd probably pick Hakeem as my first defensive center, and then I'd probably pick Ben Wallace as my second one, off the bench. So, I don't know. And, Webber, he played, 15 years. I don't know. I don't want to say he doesn't deserve it because I do he was a really good basketball player, but do you consider him to be a top 10 power forward ever?
I mean, off the top of my head, I don't have a list made, but I don't think I would. And if I do, he'd have to. I mean, 5-time All-Star. He should have made the finals once, but he didn't. I mean,
okay, so it's Dirk, Tim, KG, Karl Malone, not in any particular order. No,
okay,
no.
Good.
Dirk, Tim, KG, Karl Malone, Barkley, James Worthy, maybe. Let me look that up.
I don't know if he played the 3 or the 4.
He was definitely I guess he was technically a 3, but I tend to think of him more as a 4 because he was 6'9". So
nice.
That's 5 with Chuck. I
mean, there's definitely a lot. I just, whenever I think of
I'm just gonna look up
think of either a center or a small forward. Power forward's a tricky position.
Yeah, it is. Okay, I'd probably put McHale over him. Yeah, McHale. Bob Pettit, maybe?
I mean, didn't
That's
he win
another
an
guy
MVP?
that comes
I don't
up.
know.
Elvin Hayes. Yeah, he won an MVP. Twice. He won 2. I'd probably put Pettit over him. I would probably put Elvin Hayes over him, too. Gasol, definitely. Pau Gasol. Dennis
I
Rodman.
always think of Pau Gasol as a 5. I don't know.
Yeah, he's listed as a 4, but he really played more like a 5. Oh, Chris Bosh for sure. I'd put Chris Bosh over him.
Yeah.
Rodman is the greatest rebounder of all time. I'd probably put him over him, but I also think of him as more of a small forward too. Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin didn't really do anything either, though. I mean,
I'd probably put Anthony Davis over him at this point, honestly. I mean, he's got a ring. He's a 7-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA.
Yeah.
I think Blake Griffin is on the same tier as Chris Webber, probably. I mean, he'll finish with better stats. same amount of All-NBA, and I think he has like maybe one less All-NBA team, but one more All-Star team. We'd probably put LaMarcus Aldridge over him. Yeah, I mean, that's like what, 12 or 13 guys?
Yeah.
That I can name.
There's some that we're forgetting about because the power forward position is tricky because you can always classify them as like a 3 or a 5. Like Pau Gasol,
well, I
example.
I just looked up top power forwards ever, and I found like 15 guys.
Oh.
So I feel like I can name like 13 or 14 guys that probably had a better career than Chris Webber.
Although I think we can all unanimously agree that the Lakers screwed over the refs screwed over the Kings against the Lakers.
Yes. Yeah, if he had that ring, I'd probably think a little differently. And maybe that's not really fair to him because he would have gotten it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm not doing this intending on disrespecting Chris Webber. I just don't know. I honestly just don't know if I would put him over. Like, I don't know if I think if you're not top 10 all time at your position when you retire, and like when he retired, like I guess Anthony Davis wouldn't have been in, but like pretty much everybody else I listed outside of like Anthony Davis and like Blake Griffin, who I don't even know if I think Chris Webber is better than, or Blake Griffin's better than Chris Webber, but like
I don't think he is.
I named like 10 guys who retired before Chris Webber or were better when Chris Webber when they were all playing. That I would probably list over him. So I don't know. It's kind of arbitrary. I think he does have a borderline Hall of Fame. Like Jack Sikma's in. Chris Webber can be in.
Chris Webber, just based on what the Basketball Hall of Fame is, he should be in. But like,
yes,
obviously you could have this discussion about hundreds of people in the Hall of Fame about whether they deserve it or not.
Absolutely. All right. I don't think we have any more news.
No. The only thing left we have is this little game, again, because we're in a boring part of the NBA season.
After we got done with the podcast last time, we were talking about jersey numbers, and I know a lot of jersey numbers, and Aditya knows like 5 current jersey numbers of players who are playing right now.
I'm so
and
bad
it
with
always
numbers.
Surprises me.
I'm so bad with numbers.
It always shocks me how bad you are at knowing jersey numbers. Because I feel like if you watch enough basketball, you should probably know.
Dude, because I'm not looking at the number on their jersey. I'm looking at them play basketball.
Yeah, but like the number is huge. It's right there.
Yeah, and I'm not paying attention to it.
I guess.
Look, when I drive a car, I'm not looking at the logo on my steering wheel, okay? I'm looking at the road in front of me. Just saying.
I mean, yeah, that's fair, I guess.
It's a bad analogy, but it's the best one I can think of right now. I'm bad with jersey numbers, all right? I got enough numbers in my brain. But yeah, so I organized a few players, and I'm going to tell you the player's name, the team they played for, and you gotta guess what jersey number they wore when they were on that team.
Oh, by the way, Steph Curry cemented his scoring champ today. He is officially the 2021 scoring champion.
To the Wizards not? Oh, I guess Bradley Beal just can't catch up or whatever.
He had to outscore Steph by like 25 points.
Do they have another game before the play-in?
I don't know, but Sports Illustrated just put up that Steph Curry is officially the scoring champ. So I would guess that mathematically it is impossible.
So Bradley Beal can't drop like 150 points and take it back?
Unfortunately, no.
That's disappointing. All right, well, to get a feel for the game, I got some easy ones. Well, maybe not easy, but like easier than some of the other ones. So first up, what number did, and I guess still does, Udonis Haslem wear?
40.
That is correct. What number...
He got in a fight with Dwight Howard the other night.
Yeah, he did. Got ejected in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
What number did Jalen Rose wear on the 2000 Pacers?
5.
That is correct. What number did Dennis Rodman wear on the Bulls?
10. Rodman wore a lot of weird ass numbers.
He tried wearing 69 and the NBA said no.
I know he wore like 70 on the Mavericks and the Lakers. He wore 10 on the Pistons, which isn't a weird number, but it's weird because it's the only not weird number he wore. I want to say he wore 97.
You locking that in?
It's either 97 or 98 or it's 90. It's some 90 number. I think I'm going to say 90, actually. I'm locking that in.
The correct answer is 91.
Damn
so
it.
Close. And I actually had what number did he wear on the Pistons. You already said that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he wore 10 on the Pistons.
Yes. What number did Nate McMillan wear on the Seattle Supersonics?
Oh, God. Did he wear number 4?
He did not.
Did he wear number 10?
He did.
Okay.
Number 10 is the correct answer. What number did Cedric Maxwell wear on the Celtics the year he won Finals MVP, which is 1981?
Cedric Maxwell. Oh, my God. Did he wear number 14?
No.
Then I don't know it.
31.
31, okay.
What number did Joe Johnson wear on the Celtics in 2002?
Joe Johnson was on the Celtics?
He was in 2002.
Was that before the Suns?
Yeah, I think so.
How long was he on the... I feel like he was on the Suns for more than like... Because wasn't he in Atlanta by like 2007?
Here, I'm going to look it up because I'm pretty sure the Celtics was like very early.
Maybe that was like his rookie year and then he got drafted or got traded.
It was
to
his
Phoenix?
rookie year. He played 48 games for the Celtics and then he got traded to Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
In his rookie year. But on the Celtics, he wore what number?
Was it 7?
It was not.
He wore 7 in Atlanta, I believe. Is it 11?
It is not.
Damn. Is it 4?
It is not.
Damn, you got me with this one. I don't know.
It was also 31.
Wow.
What number did Jason Terry wear on the Mavericks?
31.
That is correct. That's what I said earlier when I unintentionally had a bunch of the same number on here. I had 3 people with 31.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What number did Dikembe Mutombo wear on the Hawks?
55.
Yep. What number did Larry Johnson wear on the Bobcats in specifically the 1991 to 1992 season?
Jesus Christ. Larry Johnson wore 2.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Now these are
For a second,
two.
I was like, "Who the fuck?" When you said Larry Johnson, and then you said the Bobcats, and I always think of Larry Johnson on the Hornets. I was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Who is?" And then you said in 1991, and I was like, "Oh wait, he is talking about the Hornets." Okay.
Yeah. All right. Now these last two are a little different. All right. What number did Patrick Ewing wear on the Magic?
6.
Damn, how'd you know that?
Because of that one picture. That one picture where he's it's like the I'm gonna look it up and see if I can find
I
it.
remember I remember the picture you're talking about. It's Patrick Ewing posting
where
someone
he just
up.
looks so sad.
But the thing is,
no, I'm thinking of like the I'm thinking of the picture. It's like in preseason. Or no, he's walking. Okay, wait, let me find it.
But here's the thing: how do you remember that number? Like I could watch
Because
a player
that
play
picture is like
yesterday,
just.
and I won't remember their number today. And you're just out here pulling out numbers from random pictures you saw in memes a few years ago.
Because that picture is so iconic in my mind of him walking down the court, and he's got this like faraway look in his eyes, like I should have retired as a Knick. And he's wearing number 6, and I don't think he got fat until like maybe later in that season, or maybe he was fat to start out. Oh, yeah, and then there's that other picture of him posting up Hakeem, who is playing for the Raptors.
Damn it. Well,
what?
That kind of... My next one was what jersey number did Hakeem wear on the Raptors?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was 34.
Yeah.
Whoops, I messed that one up. Okay, do you have another one?
I don't know. Those were the last two.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I would have gotten that one anyway. Hakeem wore 34 his whole career.
Yeah. That's so... Bro, how do you remember these? That's insane.
I didn't get the Cedric Maxwell. I'm mad at myself for that one.
Don't worry, I wouldn't have gotten it either, so... Dude, I think we should do a game one day where you quiz me on jersey numbers, and then you can expose me.
You'll just get them all wrong. It won't be fun.
No, but you'll expose me, dude.
I should just do like
jersey numbers. I know.
I should just do players who are like comically popular. Like everybody either has their jersey or knows their number, and then watch you not get it.
Dude, I know some number. I know like Chris Paul wears 3, Dwayne Wade wears 3.
You just named your 2 favorite basketball players of all time.
I know LeBron wears 23. I know he wore 6 on the Heat. You know, I know Michael Jordan wore 23. I got some knowledge up in the old brain.
Okay, you just named the 2 best basketball players ever.
Yeah,
like
but
consensus,
I know what jersey
the 2 best
numbers
guys. That's true.
Like, how many people can really say that? Not everybody, that's for sure.
That's technically correct.
Yeah. So, like, it could be worse. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. But, like, name a guy like Jason Kidd or something.
Oh, I have no idea. Absolutely
5.
Not. That's just it.
5 and 2.
There you go.
See, that's 2. He's most iconic on the Nets, which is where he was.
See, that's 5. The thing is, I've watched Jason Kidd play basketball live. I just don't remember what jersey number he wore when he was playing.
Or like Dirk. Do you know Dirk?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it was 41. In like. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say Luka's number. That was wrong.
You thought he wore 77?
Look, I don't know.
Luka only wears 77 because he wore 7 in the EuroLeague, but it was taken when he got to the Mavericks, so he had to switch it up.
Now that you say 41, it makes sense. Like, I can see it now.
Well, that's good. I mean, you're improving. What about KG?
I actually think I might know this one. I'm trying to remember. Did he wear the same jersey on the Timberwolves that he wore on the Celtics?
Yes.
Okay. He wore 5?
Yes.
Did he?
Actually, he wore 5 on the Celtics and he wore 21 on the Timberwolves. I forgot about that.
So I knew half of it. I didn't know the 21, but I knew half of it,
Yeah. I mean, that's good.
Yeah. I agree.
What about, okay, we'll name the other 2 members of the 2020, the other 2 NBA members of the 2020 Hall of Fame class. Or the other 3, if you want to count. Okay, let's start off with an easy one, Bill Russell.
11.
Dude.
That's the number of rings he's got. Hold on. That's the number of rings he's got. Oh, my God.
That would have been actually such a power move if for every ring he won, he just added another number onto his
He started
jersey.
at number 0, and every season he
and he ended with 11.
His number.
That would have been sick, actually.
I don't know Bill Russell's number.
6. Come on, dude.
What do you... Dude, you know I don't know these. That's why you're asking me them.
It's Bill Russell. He's one of the most iconic American athletes
and I
ever.
know who he is. I just don't know what number he wore.
That's like if I was like, okay, what's Jackie Robinson's number? And then
I don't know
it. You don't know Jackie?
Never watched a game
there
of
is
baseball
like
before.
A holiday around it. I didn't watch Jackie Robinson. He played
about
like the
baseball.
40s.
Bro, I don't care about baseball. I don't know a single current baseball player, period.
Oh, yeah, right. Like you don't know Mike Trout's number.
I don't.
I could just... Okay. I'm going to say the name. I'm going to say a name, and you tell me if it's a guy I'm making up right now or if it's a current top 5 baseball player.
Okay.
Mookie Betts.
That's definitely a baseball name if I've ever heard one.
Yep, it is. Okay, he's like one of the best players in baseball. Okay. I don't know if he's consensus top 5 or if he's a made up guy. Trevor Bauer.
You thought too hard about that one. It's definitely a made up guy.
Nope. That is a starting pitcher. That's the guy that got paid $140 million this offseason. I don't even know if he's like the consensus best pitcher. He just got paid a bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
He's being paid like he is. What about, final one, Jacob Degrom. Best pitcher in baseball or a guy I just made up?
Made up.
That is the best pitcher in baseball right now.
Again, I genuinely don't
This
care
is my
about
favorite
baseball.
game. This is my new favorite game.
Bro, I just started
asking you-
watching football like 2 years ago. What do you mean?
Just asking you the names of players that I know you don't know. Okay. And then the other two members, Kobe. If you don't know
24 and
both
8, I
of
know
Kobe's
those.
numbers.
Yeah, don't
Okay.
worry. I know those. I've seen
It's like
enough
in every
Instagram memes
song.
to know that one.
Yeah, okay. And then final one, Tim Duncan.
Tim, you told me that. I remember because we talked about this one last week after the podcast.
Yeah, and you didn't know it.
I didn't know it, but I think I know it now. Hold on. It was it was a lower number. It wasn't that high of a number. It was like 20-something, right?
Yes.
Okay, 20-something. That's good. 20.
No.
21.
Yes.
Yes.
Would you have, if you were like 27, would you have kept just going up by one until you got it right?
Well, you told me it was in the 20s, and I figured that was my best shot at it. So, and again, I've watched Tim Duncan live with my own eyes, but I don't remember his jersey number. You know?
Yeah.
Unless they had like a cool nickname like PG-13, you know, he wore 13.
What about KD? What number did he wear on the Thunder and Warriors,
35.
and what number does he wear on the Nets?
And 7.
Okay.
Because
I feel like
there was like I remember
it's like,
there was an Instagram meme page that was like KD 35 Warriors or whatever when he was on the Warriors, and now he's KD 7 Nets. So that's how I remember that.
what was the meme?
It was a meme page, and that was just the name of the page. It always had like the number and then like the team, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just a meme page though. So yeah, that's how I remember that one. A lot of knowledge up in my brain, you know?
Yep. A lot of knowledge.
Just not about jersey numbers.
I bet I could ask you like how many points did Kyrie average in the 2016 finals, and you could maybe get that, but if I asked you what number he wore while he was on the
11.
Cavaliers, you probably wouldn't. No. He wore 2.
Damn. He wore 11 somewhere, right?
He wore 11 on the Celtics, and he wears 11 currently.
All right.
So that's why, because I asked you what James Harden's number was, too, and you were like, I don't know, 11, and I was like, no, that's Kyrie's number. How do you not know that? Or how do you know Kyrie's number but not Harden's?
Look, I knew somebody wore it. You want to pause the recording? You think the dogs are getting a little too rowdy?
No, it's fine. I settled them down. I just had to go up and be like, hey, don't do that.
Mm. But no, see, like I knew somebody on that Nets team wore 11. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you are like, you're 1 for 3 with the current Brooklyn Nets right now.
Yeah, look, you can show me a face of an NBA player from like any era, and I have a better chance of getting it right based on like if you cut off their entire face except for their eyes than if you just told me their jersey number.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Thank you. It's
all right.
It's a skill.
Yeah.
But yeah,
all right.
I think we're good.
Yeah, I do too.
So yeah, if you enjoyed, like and subscribe, all that stuff. I'm gonna try. I had to make an iTunes account for something earlier on my laptop, so I might be able to start uploading these on like the iTunes podcast thing or whatever.
Ooh. Yeah.
I don't know. I still got to make an account for that or whatever, but that could be a possibility. So I can link that in the YouTube description once I get that done. It might not be this week. It might be a future week. I'm not sure, but regardless, it'll get done at some point, hopefully, and that can be in the description. But check out our personal channels. Check out Aiden's. I think your article is still in the description. Check out our podcast, Twitter, all that stuff. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Yeah, bye.